short one from.
No, yeah, let her come back.
I really like high school. Well, I was thinking if we get done early.
Maybe you should call ready.
Oh, I thought she was done. I thought you
Well, I'm sure.
oh, go ahead. You didn't have the oath already?
Got to give Steve the cue.
Julie,
Oh, wait till.
Julie and Mike left.
We'll just have to, I mean, we can.
Good evening, everybody. We'd like to call to order the August 16th, 2017 legislative meeting for the Woodland Hills
School Board of Directors to order. Julie, roll call, please.
Ava Johnson.
Here.
Andre Moore.
Here.
Fred Kuhn. Jamie Glasser.
Present.
Jeff Hanchett.
Here.
Jeff Hildebrand.
Here.
Robert Tomasic.
Present.
Mike Belmont.
Here. All rise for the flag salute, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready? Yeah.
No, that's with the right to acceptance of minutes. You want to do the acceptance or you want to wait?
Ready, yeah. Okay, tab 1.4, there's our acceptance of minutes.
Oh, we didn't have.
There is none.
There was no agenda.
I'm sorry,
So we're right to
1.5, legislative meeting minutes of July 29th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moving to second. Any questions?
I'm sorry, who was the first? Who was the first? Thank you.
Jeff. Second. Okay, any questions? Okay. Roll call, please. Motion passes. 1.6, we had an executive session prior to the meeting to discuss personnel. Mr. Johnson, do we have any announcements?
Just a couple quick announcements, Mr. Belmont. First of all, really excited to report that the stadium work is completed as of today. We went down to the final inspection, and the football team was practicing on it this evening, so everything and all the work is done there, and it's really beautiful, and hope everybody gets a chance to see it. Also, board members, you have season passes at your places, and so you know what that is. And lastly, our partnership with Heritage Service is starting on Monday. They'll be starting up their operation in the back of Fairless Monday. That's had its ups and downs, but we got them in, and they will be starting Monday. So we're excited about that, and just want to let everybody know that. So that's all I have, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any student speakers tonight?
No, student speakers won't start till next month.
And registered speakers, Julie.
We had a presentation out, but I don't see her. Is Bridget here? Oh, there.
Oh,
we
there she
have
is.
a short
Okay, go ahead,
presentation
Bridget.
from Bridget Clement from Community and Schools. So, Bridget.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me here tonight. I do have a little handout for you. So Communities in Schools was engaged to do a survey of the community, teachers, families, and providers to identify school and community assets, the issues, and gaps in service that exist. We were engaged to do this work for the intermediate school. Shortly after that, the school district did experience many of the issues that I know you're still dealing with now. So we did really open up our survey to a large number of district-wide families. So we had over 500 surveys completed and had 50 in-depth interviews reflecting input from all of those stakeholders that I just mentioned. The survey is created from a number of sources, our CIS National, the Coalition of Community Schools, and the National School Climate. The whole purpose, too, is to understand what the school climate is like, how things operate, and to form as a baseline as we move forward in a partnership together. Some of the strengths that I wanted to make sure and note is that the intermediate school has an incredibly dedicated team of teachers and staff from top to bottom. They are committed to doing whatever they can for their students. They are working like crazy, and they should be commended. Also, the newly implemented restorative practices it started towards the end of last year, so I know that it hadn't quite taken hold. We've had meetings with Sean, who is heading that up, and I'm really excited to see how it works this year. I'm absolutely certain that you're going to see some great results from that that implementation. And I again have to just commend the district. It's an incredibly strong academic program that you do offer, and really fantastic enrichment programs. So I wanted to make sure that those strengths get out there, because I know oftentimes strengths don't seem to float to the top of the topics that come up. We did ask all of the people who took the surveys what they felt the greatest needs of their community were, as they pertain to students and as they pertain to themselves. The families identified mentoring as the number one service their students could benefit from, and also bullying prevention, tutoring, drug and alcohol prevention, and after-school programming. The teachers surveyed identified as the number one thing more mental health support for their students. A very close second was mentoring, too, so parents and teachers are aligned in that. Basic needs, bullying prevention, and leadership development. And so what that kind of says to us is there is a need for some additional high-quality providers at the school, but also families need to be aware of what services are already provided by the school so that they can take advantage of them. Finally, the families, when asked about what they felt the community needed or they would benefit from, they identified workforce development issues, career counseling, adult literacy, GED, computer literacy, adult education classes, those kinds of things that would help bolster them and move them to another station in life, let's say. The interesting thing was that of those surveyed, 65% of them said that if things like this were offered at the school, they would go to the school to attend it. And I know transportation is an issue, so I was really bolstered to hear that, because it says to me, one, there's a need that people would travel for, and two, the school maybe isn't as difficult to reach as we had initially thought. So some of the things that we identified as strong themes for improvement were family and community engagement. The recent issues, have taken a toll on the community and the families whose students attend the intermediate school. However, most of the parents are happy with their school. So you should know that and feel good about that. They are having a positive experience. Now, there is tension and worry about should their students continue on to the high school. But there's time yet for many of them to make those decisions. So most of their dissatisfaction or their concern really is more looking at the district-wide and not particularly that school. So again, that's something, this school has a lot of strengths going for it. The other thing, too, and this is something that I've said in individual meetings with many of you, is that the crisis that you have faced is an incredible opportunity to open a community dialogue. And we have been doing that through this survey and through these interviews, is to hear what people have to say, to hear what they like and dislike and what they feel the strengths are and where they feel that the school can best support them and their students. So this is a really positive first step in building that community dialogue and beginning to heal those relationships. The one thing that is interesting and will be something that we'll be working on is how to deal with the geography. So the geography of the district makes it a little difficult for resources to be shared across the community. So one community may have a resource that another one does not offer. So how do we make it available, known, and how do families access it, regardless of where they are in the district? So that's one of the things that we'll really be looking at, so that families have access to all the supports that they need. The other thing that is an issue is capacity, and by that I mean the capacity of everyone. There is of the teachers surveyed, 83% of them indicated that their students needed more individualized attention than they currently receive, so more one-on-one time. The needs of the students are overwhelming to the teachers, and they're not really sure how to address them all. So they also, and I think this is, again, another major positive to the teaching staff that we have there, is that they really want to have deeper relationships with the families. It's just they're feeling very constricted for time in order to make that happen. So there are some strategies that I think will be very helpful. The community school strategy that we deploy can be effective to address all of these issues and to help with those service gaps that we've identified. For those of you who don't know, a community school creates a vibrant, safe, and welcoming environment where students are challenged and supported to succeed in school. They can be hubs for delivering supports to the entire community. But the thing to remember is that they're built over time. This takes time, and it takes input from the community and from all the school stakeholders. So as we move forward, CIS has proposed deploying a site manager at the intermediate school for the 17-18 school year. The three areas where we're going to work, where we're going to focus her work the most, is to increase the family and community engagement, to coordinate the resources for students and families, and again, that's across communities, and to support the existing efforts of the school through truancy work, really closely aligning with the work of the social worker in support of the work that she does with that. And we have already integrated into the restorative practice strategy. So there is another line of defense there in terms of behavior issues that come up throughout the day. It's, again, having the site manager in that role and working in that capacity will help to develop stronger relationships with the families, because they'll be able to do some of that more intensive work, some of that more relational work with the families that, again, staff is really stretched in order to be able to complete. Plus, they'll be able to be they will be providing information that will be vital not only to the families, to the teachers, but also to the providers that are serving those students, so that they get the support that they need in a customized way. Our whole purpose is to help schools meet students where they are, meet families where they are, and provide that support that they need in order to get the most out of their education. That's what I have as an overview tonight. The full report will be sent to you by the end of the month. I don't know if there are any questions. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned highlights that some of the parents spoke about in the school. Can you share some of that with us?
Well, again, I think they were very. Overall, they're very pleased with the school. They did mention the enrichment programs, the quality of the academic programs, and they do feel that their teachers that there's a team between them. So I thought that was really great. It says a lot for what the school is doing and able to achieve, even though they are so overwhelmed at the moment. So I think that there's a lot to build on there. I know that there are families that we didn't get to and that the school has not gotten to, and that we're going to have to tease out a little bit more to get them to engage. Honestly, what we're trying to do is to have, as a first step, the school really be a hub and a resource of information for those families, and have that trusted be that trusted resource to families. So I think we've got a good step towards it, and from the feedback that we got, it sounds like we do have many families that are feeling that way. We just have to build on that, and then we also have to keep following through with being that vital resource.
Thanks, Bridget.
I have one more question,
Sorry.
Bridget.
Yeah.
In translating that academically, communities and schools and other school districts, when do you see a positive correlation with the support that you're providing,
Right.
how that translates in the classroom?
Right. We measure that. So we do baseline measures of all the kids that we serve in a one-on-one capacity, and we follow them throughout the year. The goals that we establish for those students are across attendance, course performance, and behavior. So we look for results within the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. By the end of the school year, we want them hitting their goals and exceeding them. So we do hit those goals. We have hit those goals pretty aggressively in other schools that we're working with. We anticipate the same here.
Excellent. Any other questions? Okay. Bob, you have a question?
Adverse comments.
Adverse comments? Well, communication. Communication came up again and again. It's not just positive communication, it's any communication. That was probably that was the biggest complaint, is that parents don't hear what they need to hear in a timely fashion, whether it's good news, bad news, or an issue has come up. I think, too, that in handling that and not being ahead of those opportunities to communicate with parents, we end up creating situations that otherwise wouldn't get so blown out of proportion. That's probably I think that's one of the biggest challenges that the school faces. No, it fell along the lines of not being informed when there was an issue with their child, or if something came up, not knowing all of the details surrounding it, or finding out about it after it had occurred. I think, too, the other thing that came up a lot was how the discipline was handed out across the board. It wasn't always consistent, but I do think that the restorative practices and the plan that they've put together to implement will go a long way to help with that.
One thing we have to work on, so it's
Yeah,
we'll know about this.
that's right. Yeah,
Okay, is that it, Bob? Okay, anybody else? Okay,
thank you.
that's it. Thank you, Bridget.
Thanks.
Apparently, I was just informed we have another quick presentation, I hope, from nutrition. Is Kelly here?
Good evening. I promise I will keep it very brief for you. Good evening. For those of you who I have not had the opportunity to meet yet, my name is Kelly Patterson, and I'm the regional manager with the Nutrition Group that operates your food service program here at Woodland Hills School District. Just wanted to thank you. We had an extremely successful year for 16-17. We enjoyed working with your students and faculty in the cafeterias every day for breakfast, lunch, and some students with the dinner program. So we just wanted to give you a very quick peek at what was coming up for the 17-18 school year before we get started. You can see we have lots of programs coming to your district for the 17-18 school year. In your elementary school, we'll celebrate what we like to call Lunch for Life. So your kindergarten students are your first students that enter into the district that have the opportunity to enjoy a meal in the cafeteria. However, when you're 5 and this tall, and the cafeteria staff are this tall, and the serving lines are this tall, that can be a little bit intimidating, right? So we like to celebrate in October, once the lunchbox syndrome has worn off, because everyone has a new lunchbox in September, and when you're 5, that is a big deal. So once October rolls around, on October 10th, 11th, and 12th, we will celebrate with all of those kindergartners at lunchtime. And when they come in, we will encourage everyone, we will send flyers home to mom and dad to have their kindergarten students come through and enjoy lunch that day. They'll receive a special trinket that day, whether it's a ruler or a pencil or a bookmarker about some nutrition education, just to encourage them to come through the line. So we hopefully create students who will join us for Lunch for Life. In our elementary school, we brought in a new program called Tasty Bites. When the Healthy Hungry Free Kids Act came in, we saw a disappearance of Jell-O and pudding and cookies and things that the students really enjoyed. And they've told us that. They're missing that when we meet with them to talk about the menus. So our chefs came up with a program called Tasty Bites, which incorporates a part of the reimbursable meal with a little bit of a twist to make it more of a treat for the students. So they will receive things like a banana split parfait that will count as their fruit component for the day. Something a little bit exciting every once in a while, since some of the regulations have eliminated some of their favorites. And we're bringing back Wellness Wednesday. That's an elementary school program where we bring in once a month. We feature items that your students may not have the opportunity to taste otherwise. Things like a citrus beet salad, or they've done tomato cucumber salad, sampling different grains like farro and items like that. The students come up, any student can participate. They get to sample it. They have the recipes to take home to mom and dad. They receive a sticker that says, I tried something new today. They're so excited when they see the balloons on the table because they know they're going to get to try something they haven't had and get the sticker and the take home for it. In your intermediate schools, we're bringing in tasty specials. These will be more a la carte designed, and they will also feature items similar to the elementary school, more of a treat-based item that is still within the guidelines of the program. So trying to bring back some of those favorites. And your middle school age students will get to participate in Lucky Lunch. Gone are the days of Lucky Tray when there was a sticker on the bottom and everyone picked their tray up and dumped their lunch to check to see if they had it. So this year they will be enjoying a scratch-off ticket. So your middle school kids will come through lunch on certain days of the month and receive their ticket, and they will get to see if they've been selected as a winner that day. And then there will also be a second chance drawing that they'll get to put their non-winning tickets in the box. So that's pretty exciting. They'll enjoy that. No more dumped lunch trays. We can't forget about the secondary students, the high school students. We have a program called Taste the Goodness. We will feature a special each month. It might be part of the meal. It might be an a la carte based item. The students will have the opportunity to text and let us know if they enjoyed it. So bringing in some of their social media things that they're already familiar with. And we're bringing back Recipe of the Month. Each year we have the staff in our school districts come up with new recipes, and they compete to be the recipe of the month. So over the 200 plus school districts that the nutrition group works with, the ladies submit recipes. And let me tell you, they get very serious about who gets to win recipe for the month for the next year. So the recipes that you'll see featured have been submitted by staff, a lot like yours, and then evaluated by our corporate chefs and dietitians, of course, to meet the guidelines of the program. So they get really excited when theirs is the one that's featured for that month. And the students have had some great feedback for those recipes. And lastly, we'll be bringing back our Farm to Fork program. In the state of Pennsylvania, pairing it with the school district season for locally grown produce tends to get pretty short. It's from now until about Thanksgiving that we can reap the benefits of having some locally grown produce. So we'll be working with a company this year, Paragon. They're out of Warrendale, PA, but they work with a lot of local farms. So we'll be bringing in local apples for your elementary students, locally grown squash, heirloom tomatoes, different things each week, and we will highlight that, and the students will be able to know that this is something that came from your area. And it will all come together at the end during the Thanksgiving season with a harvest feast featuring local green beans, local squash, local potatoes in the meal for that day. And again, we will highlight that for the students, that they're getting the local produce from their area. Short, right? I told you, I promised it would be short. So we just want to thank you for partnering again with us. We enjoyed our year last year. It was successful for the students. We can't wait to see them again when school starts up, and we will continue. Did anybody have questions about food service?
Bob does.
Sure.
Right now, we have pay a meal for seniors after school, after class at 7 o'clock. We do nothing for elementary. Is it possible to feed these children maybe after 6 o'clock?
For an after-school dinner program?
Yeah, like you did at high school.
The building would qualify for the program, yes. One of the stipulations of offering that dinner program is there has to be some type of enrichment activity within the building. So if your elementary students had tutoring going on after school, if there was clubs activity or something that was an organized enrichment activity, we are then able to offer a dinner program.
I thought we would have it done last year. I was disappointed. I found out it wasn't in place.
We'll take a look at it.
A program here, people make speeches about we concerned about feeding the young people.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
we'll take a look at it for you.
We should have been doing it last year. All right.
Kelly, something came up in committee last week, which was pretty cool. We seem to be doing pretty well getting our kids to eat breakfast. Can you elaborate on that for the group?
Yeah, they're doing a great job. Siobhan has been instrumental in also looking at our schools that should have a higher breakfast participation and focusing on them. For example, Edgewood was one of the schools, and we took a look at it together and we decided that it was just the way the students entered the building. What do we need to do to change that? They instituted a grab-and-go program. I know that we're working with the local food bank for this coming school year to maybe focus on Wilkins a bit, maybe to get more of those children to participate. But regionally, you have a very high participation rate in breakfast, which is wonderful to see. If you look at the national trend over the last 5 years for participation in any national school lunch program, the chart is devastating. It goes this way. Woodland Hills does not. Yours goes exact opposite of that national trend. So kudos to the staff here and the ladies here at Woodland keeping the kids coming through the lines with all the changes.
All moms will tell you breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Absolutely.
Right. Anything else? Oh, that's it. Thank
you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, we're going to move on to registered speakers. 2 points concerning that. Number one, if you're here to speak about action item 6.2 concerning the football coach, there's going to be an amendment to that motion, so we're going to allow people to speak prior to that topic during the meeting. Secondly, as we've asked everybody in the past to hold your comments to 2 minutes, and sometimes some questions come up, we'll take note of your questions, and then at the end of the meeting, happy to meet with anybody to help get you answers. If we don't have the answers, we'll get them for you, and then we're happy to post that information on our website so people will be aware of what was discussed at the meeting. Having said all that, Julie?
You have the list in front of you.
Oh, yep, sorry about that. Marilyn Messina.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Marilyn Messina, 1401 Walnut Street, Edgewood, 15218. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Sharday Seligson a little early on her new appointment. Even though I'm not from that region, we're all here for all kids, and I'm sure that she will have the support of all the communities and all the board members to perform and to execute the role and duties of a school director to provide the best for everyone in the community, and I congratulate you and wish you the best. Also, Mr. Moore, I did not have the pleasure to know you that long when I was on the board, but I thank you for your service. I think we all thank you for your service, and I wish you well in your future endeavors. And thanks again to you and your family. First of all, I'd like to address G20 in the personnel packet. There needs to be some clarification of a salary. It says that there is a per diem of $37.57. There should be, I believe, a statement of the present salary for Ms. Nagy, and that if there is a difference of a per diem for her as an acting interim principal, that should be noted in the minutes, because these minutes will be approved and they will be a part of a record. But presently, in your board packet, it says she will be paid per diem $37.57. So I think that correction needs to be made. I was also going to mention something about 6.2, but I will wait until that comes up. The next thing I'd like to speak about is 14.6, the community in schools. It says that there's $15,000 from grants. I did look over the proposal, and at the end it said that this $15,000 comes from PNC Charitable Trusts. I would like that to be more specific. I think that could be more specific. And as I said, in the board tab, it just says $15,000 from grants. I'd like to know what grants those are, if we could do that. The other point that I would like to make is just G1 and 2, and I'm a little confused. It says that, should I stop now, or can I just make, I just want to make this one point, and just to clarify. It says G1 and G2 says to eliminate the special ed coordinators. Who were the special ed coordinators? Was it not Miss Leonard and Dr. Vereen? And then it says the reason that you're eliminating those positions was to appoint the directors of elementary and secondary special ed. It seems to have been backwards. There's two different titles there. My question last month and my comment was that if you're making an expansion of services or duties in the job description and you're giving an increase, it's a new position. And people should be provided, whether you've already made the decision to select certain people, that needs to be, people need to be aware of that. So maybe, you don't need the time to make that, but I was just seeing two different, elimination of one. It almost seems to be being done backwards. But I know that you're on the right track. I see that there's a posting for the secondary special ed person, because I know that she has taken a job as a principal in the Pittsburgh Public Schools. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm sorry I overspoke.
Thank you, Ms. Messina. Tracy Boobin.
Tracy Boobin, 112 Wilkins Avenue. I want to congratulate Charday. Congratulations. I know you'll do a good job. I'd also like to wish Mr. Moore continued success, and thank you for being part of the board. You were a very good listener. I was going to speak on 6.2, but I'll hold off. Whenever the community and schools advocate was talking, it hit home. Communication in this district is nil. Okay? Point being, I spoke to Mr. Johnson, explained to him that there were reasons my child left the school and is now going to be cyber schooled. He wanted to know those reasons. I said not until after the school year's done, because it had to do with teachers. He said he would contact me. To date, he hasn't contacted me. So where does that's one child. Now, if you think I'm going to go out in the community and say, oh, it's a good place, they care about your kid, nobody cares why my child left this district. Yes, it is only one child. But with the personnel assignments and everything, whenever you see that declining enrollment, declining enrollment, declining enrollment, declining enrollment, how much declining enrollment do you want? If this happens to my child, if a teacher not intimidates, but basically pushes my child's thoughts away from going to your school, how many children are there whose parents aren't going to come to you and say, do you want to know? I'll tell you. It's ridiculous. You guys need to know. You need to listen to the community and everything. I had 3 children going through the school. I graduated in 83. Yes, I started a walkout in 81 against the merger because I didn't think that it was done equitably across the board. It was very hurtful to some areas. Okay? I was an advocate of this school. This really upsets me. Okay? That I have to pull my last child out of this district because he does not want to go there. And he is a child that goes with the flow. Many of you on the board know him. He's always smiling and everything else. Whenever he turned to me and said, Mom, you're not listening, I cannot go back to that school, they don't care. You know what? You guys proved them right. And I hope that you learn from it. Because there's many more just like him coming up, from kindergarten on up. There's many more Trey Boobins out there. And you guys got to get your act together, or else you're not going to need that $85 million to renovate a school. Because you're going to have enough to fit inside that high school.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Clanigan.
Good evening. Robert Clanigan, Comrie Avenue, Braddock. In light of certain resignation that took place before Mr. Moore placed his on the agenda, this has become a great opportunity to get refocused on restorative practices. And I don't mean restoring practices of the 90s that caused a court order to remain in place, especially practices that violated the court order being that was in place at that time. In an article on the history of the district that I read that took place, came out back in October 5th, 2016. Part of that article had a 2013 American Civil Liberties Union study listed Woodland Hills as having among the local school districts with the highest suspension rates in Pennsylvania. It found that black students in Pennsylvania were 5 times more likely in Woodland Hills were 5 times more likely than white students to be suspended. This is similar to 1996 stats that had Pennsylvania African American students getting suspended 3 times to 1 compared to Caucasian students, and the African American student population at that time was between 30 to 37% of the student population, which is half of what it is today. The article also said this, and I quote, "This year the district is also focusing on what it calls restorative practices, which focuses on building relationships with students to restore disciplinary problems, to resolve disciplinary problems rather than removing students from school. A major relationship builder would be to infuse African American history throughout the curriculum. Having people such as Dr. Hickman, Ms. Agatha Leonard, or people/administrators such as these is what is needed to live up to restorative practices and focus on building relationships with students to resolve disciplinary problems. And increasing this positive relationship will go a long way by infusing African American history throughout the curriculum." Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clanigan. And Ms. Reed, you'll be speaking later in the meeting. Moving on to board matters.
Action item 2.1, we recommend the appointment of Ms. Sharday Seligson, to fill an unexpired term as a region. I'm so sorry. As a Region 1 representative to the Board of School Directors of the Woodland Hills School District, beginning August 2017 through November 2017.
So moved.
That was Bob on the motion, Julie, and a tie between Fred and Ava, so it's your call.
I'll give it to Mr. Kuhn.
All right.
Mr. Kuhn. Okay, is there any discussion on Ms. Seligson? Okay, no discussion. Jamie, go ahead.
I'd just like to say thank you for your willingness to serve and your dedication to the district that you've already shown as a parent. Looking forward very much to serving with you, and I think we're going to do some good things.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. Anybody else?
I would just like to say welcome aboard, and I appreciate you volunteering your time and your efforts to come across the board. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Roll call, please, Julie.
Do you just want to online voting or?
What's that?
Mark it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Kuhn? Dr. Hildebrand?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhn? I did say you, I'm sorry. Ms. Glasser?
Yes.
Vote for me.
Mr. Tomasic?
Yes.
Mr. Belmont?
Yes. At this
You got Fred twice because you didn't ask me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you here?
Yes. We're covered.
Mr. Hill, Mr. Hanchett?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
We look so much alike.
And at this point, we'll ask Ms. Fialkovich to step forward for the swearing in.
I, Sharday Sullivan,
having been appointed to the office of school director
having been appointed to the office of school director
for the school district of Woodland Hills,
for the school director of Woodland Hills,
County of Allegheny,
County of Allegheny,
and Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
obey, and defend
the
Constitution of the United States
Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
First signature. 16.
Okay, we're going to move 2.3 and 2.4 to the end of the meeting, and at this point, we'll move on to section 4.
Yeah, action item 4.
2.2.
2.2. Yeah, 2.2. We forgot that.
Oh, sorry, Andre.
Action item 2.
Excuse me. Now that was Freudian. I didn't want you.
He's not allowed to leave.
Yeah.
Action item 2.2, acceptance of the resignation of Mr. Andre Moore from the Board of School Directors effective September 1st, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anybody like to make any comments? Fred?
No.
No? Okay. That's pretty clear.
He's going down North Carolina. I got family down there.
All right. I think Ava wants to comment.
Congratulations. You're going to be missed.
Thank you.
Sure. Jamie?
I wish you very well for you and your family. Appreciate your service. Thank you for being a friend and a leader in the year for all of us and to support the district. Best wishes.
Thank you.
Jeff, anything?
I just, thank Andre. I know we've conversed about athletic things, and I'm not sure. Have ideas that we're moving forward on. I guess somebody else will be working with me on.
Best of luck, Andre.
Dr. Hildebrand.
Yeah, best of luck. It's been great building a friendship, and I appreciate your leadership and guidance. And Churchill's going to miss your wife's leadership, too, on their council as well. So,
Thank you.
And good luck. You guys are going to be great.
Thank you.
And the basketball program. Sorry leaving.
I know. Thank you.
I'll pile on a little bit too, Andre. It was my pleasure getting to serve with you. Appreciate your insights and your areas of expertise. For those of you that don't know, Andre's taken a position in his professional life, and it's going to take him out of state. So, or he would still be here, but this is a wonderful opportunity for him. So on behalf of the school district, students, and your colleagues here, thank you.
Thank you. I'll just say thank you. It was a pleasure serving with this board. You guys have been an open ear, a lot of knowledge and wisdom up here. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your volunteerism. You guys have been great. I want to thank the communities for coming out and supporting the board meetings, but also those who have voted me into office. I want to thank you. Sorry I'm not able to fulfill the term, but thank you for taking the chance on me and giving me the opportunity to serve this district. and trusting me to make decisions for your kids and your families. So I just want to thank everyone involved, both board and communities. But he's right, I am moving out of state. So it is an opportunity I can't pass up for me and my family. We're moving to North Carolina, but it's been great here, and I want to thank you all for your service and your volunteerism as well. I'll work on it.
Hey, what about placement? Patient. Is to be patient.
Oh, thank you, Bob. Yes, with Andre's resignation effective September 1st, at that point in time, we will post the vacancy, and there's a 10-day window for people to apply from that region, which is comprised of Churchill, Chalfont, Wilkins, and Turtle Creek. So if there are any residents in that region that are interested in stepping in for Andre, they'll have big shoes to fill, but we will welcome them.
I would suggest that, and it's good that, it's bad that he's resigning, Andre resigned in the first place. That was bad news the other day. They're not start off on Monday morning. What we have is that his term, he's agreed to serve audibly until the end of the month, but at that point we have 30 days, pretty much the whole month of September to fill the spot. So I think we can begin posting the advertisements. We've reluctantly accepted Andre's resignation, but we can begin the process now. Okay. So that we can, I think the general aim would be to appoint your successor in the September voting.
Excellent.
So, for ballot for November election, who's going to be on a ballot?
Well, I mean, that's going to be up. I mean, I will.
Point of order. He's not up this year.
I know. No,
he's not up.
It's a 2-year appointment. But I think we'll have.
Doesn't matter.
It'll be
till the next. He's leaving.
If you, 1 second. His term, just like Tara's, will be posted on the ballot, because again, whoever will be appointed to your position will take it to the end. The Allegheny County did send something. They said resignations before September 8th or September 9th. So it'll be again a short-term term, but I think at that point it would be for any special election would be for a 2-year term. So
somebody has to run in this election.
Yes, sir.
I guess for like a writing
both positions.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually on the ballot.
I know.
ran an independent campaign, so I'm already there.
Everybody clear on that? Okay. Cast your vote for
you can vote. No violation.
Can you help Sade?
Say nay.
Can you help Sade? Can you help her on the computer?
Got tomorrow.
Mr. Tomasik, I'm waiting for your vote. Can you help Sade?
Oh. That's going to do a real call.
No, he doesn't have. She doesn't have a transfer plug-in. Unless she wants to. She can't. That's true. No, he should. Oh, he already said no.
having some technical difficulty.
No, actually, it went better than we thought. I didn't think they had this set up yet. I'm sorry. I didn't think they had this set up for you.
This is what I wanted. Confusion.
Thank you.
Have to stay out.
Okay.
Motion passed unanimously.
Okay.
All right. Now we'll move on to special education, Section 4. In action item 4.1, approval to contract with Interim Healthcare of Pittsburgh for the 2018 school year for a medically fragile student.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Glasser, seconded by Mr. Kuhn. Any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
It didn't ask her to vote. I'm not Why didn't it bring her?
He did.
You should get it.
Motion passes.
She
I think you have
voted.
to be on the page.
She
Oh, she
voted.
already voted. All right. I see it. Motion passed unanimously. We'll get this one back. Then we'll go to action item, or section 6, personnel, and action item 6.1, sections A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and H.
So moved.
Second.
Just in reference to what was brought up earlier, the action section on Candy Nagy, that's a per diem addition over top of her present salary, which is, did you get that?
$85,231.
So she currently sees a salary of $85,231, so it'll be a $37 and whatever it was additional per diem. We're voting. We normally always do that when we appoint a substitute or an interim principal.
Okay. Did you get the second, Julie?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Great, you got it. Oh, you're on top
Okay,
of this.
anything else? Roll call, please. Okay, motion passes.
Unanimously.
Now we're at action item 6.2. At this point in time, we will take comments from the public.
Well, first, we want to do the motion.
Motion.
amend.
Okay, we'll do that first.
Do you want me to read the motion as it stands and then somebody can make an amendment? The motion as it stands is to accept per the administration's recommendation the resignation of Kevin Murray as football coach pursuant to a settlement agreement.
I think the board has discussed if someone can make this motion, but I'll put it out there. To modify, amended to read, except per the administration's recommendation, the resignation of Kevin Murray as football coach and as high school principal.
Yes!
All right.
To a settlement agreement approved by the solicitor.
Okay. Sir,
So moved.
Second.
Okay, this is to amend, so I think probably the easiest thing is if there's any public comments on that, for the amendments, and then as the whole, we'll just do them all. We'll have two separate votes, but the public comment should be now on this.
thank you. Okay.
I'm very happy at the recommendation that's to be made, and I say that from personal experience in the past. But then one other thing then, I go back to Ms. Nagy. Is she now a substitute, or is she acting interim principal? And if she's acting interim principal, I'm not her agent, but I would think that she would make the difference between what the principal was making and her salary now. I don't know if that adjustment needs to be made or the semantics need to be taken care of. But that would be my, not knowing what this addendum was going to be, that would be it. I had other questions, but the questions are answered with the resignation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Boobin?
I want to say thank you. You guys have made a right decision. However, I know we're never going to know what the settlement agreement is, but it's, pretty upsetting that the public is going to end up having to pay for this out of taxpayer money.
If I could, Rick, once, again, with the agreement has to be approved by myself, and obviously it would be Mr. Murray's representatives, but once it is signed and irrevocable, it will be made public.
Right, but I don't know how you can give somebody a settlement that doesn't qualify for the job. But that being said, I think that the best thing for the district is to bring somebody in from the outside, somebody that's not partial, that has nothing to do with the district now, that can just come in and do their job with no biases or anything like that. Clean slate, come in, do the job. Because right now, the public does not have faith. Just my thoughts.
Okay.
Donica Reed.
Donica Reed, please.
I don't think so. I think what do we pull?
First, I want to speak on, talk about a few things that are in the Woodland Hills Student Code of Conduct. It says here, principals and superintendent are supposed to promote a safe, orderly, and stimulating school environment, active teaching and learning. And it says board members are to be responsive to the concerns and needs of all stakeholders. Okay, well, first off, the principal should have been fired in the first place. He shouldn't have been given that position in the first place. You just rewarded him for bad behavior. And on top of that, he should have been reported by the district and not the public, which is the reason why his certification is being held up now. Outside complaints, it should have been done here. That's your job. If this were Pittsburgh Public, him and the superintendent would have been gone a while ago. And also, the superintendent made a comment about the maybe being able to heal the district or leaving if he couldn't heal the district. Well, you can't heal the district when you're the biggest problem with the district. As a matter of fact, one of the student adjudications from last year, one of the 72, she was actually given a concussion by the police officer that it took you a while to remove from the school. It took you until, Good Morning America called to get rid of him? But it was okay to keep him there. But on top of that, that little girl is still having complications due to that concussion. So thanks for your leadership skills, but your hands won't heal her concussion. And also, whenever you do decide to resign, which hopefully you do, or hopefully you guys just decide to get rid of him, I'll actually print out the agenda, frame it, and put it on my wall. Thank you.
Right. And in the future, if somebody chooses to attack somebody personally up here, I will gavel them down. It's not right.
Come on.
Okay.
Speak up.
All righty. Motion's been made and seconded. Let's do the roll call on the amendment.
This is on the amendment.
And then
on the amendment. And then
This is on the amendment.
This is on the amendment.
Okay.
First.
So I'm just going to do a paper one.
Yeah, okay.
Ms. Glasser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Hanchett?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhn?
Yes.
Dr. Hildebrand?
Yes.
Mr. Tomasic?
Yes.
Mrs. Seligson?
Yes.
Mr. Belmont?
Yes.
Now this will be for the vote.
Now that's the main motion as amended.
All righty. Any? So moved. Thank you.
Second.
Moved by Fred, seconded by Andre, I think. Any comments on this? Okay. Roll call, please.
Who's?
Oh,
okay. Who's missing, Julie? Anybody?
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
Just a lag.
Motion carries.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, moving
I'll
on.
move to Section 9, Food Service, Transportation, and Safety. Request permission to purchase 10 point-of-sale machines, a point-of-sale station license, 15 pin pad scanners, and 9 cash drawers for the district's cafeterias. Cost not to exceed $22,727.50. It comes from the PEPM list, and the funds will come from the food service or cafeteria service funds.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? Roll call, please. Motion carries.
I'm sorry. Well, let you do it. No, you should do it. That moves us to Building and Grounds, Action Item 10.1, request approval of a change order for $8,285.49 for A. Liberoni for the administrative building paving project. This is to add, I think, a storm drain in the back. We didn't anticipate.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Andre is already on the board, Ava.
Okay.
You were slow. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, was this in the original contract? Is this addition to the contract?
It was in addition to the contract, sir. It wasn't anticipated in the
For
original
drainage.
specs, and then they had to add it.
How about if I was a bid down a contract and I can do a job cheaper than that, you change your put in place afterwards? I have a problem with that. Somebody should know about what had to be done in advance. It should be all in one bid, not separate bids. Change orders. I'm tired. Everybody does these change orders. That's how they get around things. So it's $8,000. That's a big change order.
Well, we only asked them for paving when that's all we asked for.
Your engineer should be on top of that and make sure that job is fixed out correctly. Right? You should have known what you had to have done. That should have been right in the contract in the first bid. Not addended to the contract.
Yeah. I mean that's an opinion. I don't agree. You may certainly have that opinion. We did not feel it was necessary. None of
I understand. I
zoning engineers
understand
felt
what
it was
you're saying,
necessary.
Mr. Johnson. I've been doing this work for years. I know how people cheat.
Well, and I've been doing this too for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we just disagree, sir.
Let's call for the vote, please.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Wait a minute. I got to make sure now. That wasn't in the contract when you first went out for bid.
No, it was not.
So you got to get the answer to the engineer why it wasn't in the first bid.
Oh, I'll certainly ask him.
You get the answer for me?
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Roll call, please. Motion passes.
Action item 10.2, request permission to accept change order 1 from Sport Floors for $1,500 for additional paint due to larger logos and baselines at the high school gym floor.
So moved.
Second.
Moving to second. Any questions? Brad.
Yeah, it looks very nice. Should have mentioned that in the announcements that it's done too. Sorry, I should have said that.
I'd like to thank Ms. Lenz for her hawking that project. It turned out really well, Alicia. We know you were watching that closely. Okay. Cast your vote, please.
Motion passes unanimously. Action item 10.3, request permission for the use of facilities by outside organizations for the 17-18 school year. That's attached.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Kuhn. Any questions?
The gentleman is now in charge of our buildings and grounds. I wish they would relate to him that any usage by any outside group that destroys any kind of property.
Yeah, we just talked about that today, actually. We're going to provide a letter to anybody, especially using the Wolverine, that if anything is damaged or put there, that they're going to be held responsible for cleanup at the full contractor's rate, not our rate.
How about termination of the permit, too? Just,
Oh, that,
I mean,
yeah, that's
sure.
it.
I mean, just like, hey, if you screw this up, you'll pay to fix it and you're done. I mean, I mean,
It's anything else. I mean, if someone's deliberately damaging district property, it should be revoked. I mean, and like anything else under the agreement, if you're using our property, you damage it, you pay.
Dr. Hildebrand, you had a...
Yeah, I had a question about the midget football at the Wolf Arena. Is that also using the concession stand?
Concession stand.
What do you mean? I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Are they using the concession stand at the Wolf Arena for all those weekends they're listed?
The Wolverina, that's all.
For the.
Oh, no.
I'm assuming they are.
Mike, I'm sorry, do you know, Mike, if you have any, Bob's not here.
Yeah, he's there.
The only reason I'm asking is because speaking of destruction of property is having worked in the concession stand with the marching band for the football games, the concession stand is often trashed. I don't know, I'm not saying it's this organization.
I would say, yeah, they're using it. Because in the past, I believe it's the same group. I'm thinking they've always.
That's midget football one.
I think they're using. I would say they're using it because they used it last year, I believe. If it's the same group.
Okay. Well, I mean, the same thing would apply.
Guidelines have to hold, right?
Yeah.
If they're going to trash stuff and or not clean it,
right,
then
they don't get to use it again.
Right.
Because we've definitely gone in there and things have been in a bad way Friday.
Okay. So if we could please be diligent watching the groups using our facilities. Thank you. Roll call, please. Passes.
Action item 10.4, request approval of the proposal from Man Construction for emergency repair to the home bleacher steps at the stadium at a cost not to exceed $25,000.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Jeff Hildebrand. Any questions? Andre?
On the treatment of the steps, are we going to be sure that we don't use like rock salt to eat up cement after we just paid all this money? You know what I mean? Like, can we be extra cautious?
I don't think we normally do stuff.
I mean, I don't know what you use, but I'm just saying.
All right,
I'm just making sure.
Well, I'll follow up on that.
Because that wasn't cheap for us to go
You
back.
can ask that now that you're going to North Carolina, right?
Got to make sure y'all don't slip, right?
You could come back and shovel it for us.
We'll send you.
Send me the bill.
Bid? My brother's job bid?
No, the job is not bid, sir.
Who is it?
Mike, I don't know.
Yeah, usually there's provisions on the school code for emergency repairs.
Yeah.
They don't have to be bid.
Wait a minute. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
No, emergency.
I know, but when's emergency? That should have been planned out 2 years ago. That's something that happened right now. It didn't just break apart till yesterday. It was here 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Don't tell me it's an emergency job. It's not. It's not an emergency job.
I'm just saying emergencies don't have to be real.
I understand if there's an emergency, but this isn't this.
I understand your point, sir.
Okay.
2 months, 3 months. He can't know about it. Right. Give me a break.
Okay. Call for the vote, please.
Violation. Definitely a violation. I look at the contract. Getting a copy of the contract I'm looking at. There's nothing about total cost or anything on it. Well, they printed out before. Tell me what's involved in the contract. I'm sure it's nothing.
Motion passes.
With one exception. Legal matters, action item 11.1, permission to approve student adjudication number 13.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments, questions? Roll call, please.
No legal bills. There's still time to come back.
Please, time.
Thinking about it all.
That was so easy. Just read it out.
Motion carries.
Action item 11.2, permission to approve student adjudication number 14.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Roll call, please. Motion carries.
Action item 11.3, permission to approve student adjudication number 15.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any comments? Roll call, please. Motion carries.
Action item 11.4, motion to approve settlement of tax appeals involving PCE Partners, LLC, including Allegheny Valley Bank, that's Penn Center East.
So moved.
Moved and second. Are any questions on the motion? Roll call, please. Motion carries.
School Finance, action item 12.1, request ratification of the bill list for invoices paid after the July 19th, 2017 legislative meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Glasser, second by
this legal?
Jeff Hildebrand. Any questions?
Any legal fees on this one?
No legal.
Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Silly. Well, there is one. I love it. There is one. I take that back, but it was approved.
Okay.
It was approved last month, but because of the way the checks were written,
I know, but I'm not sure that I got questions for the suits.
It was discussed last month.
Yeah.
From that new firm, dude.
Motion carries.
Action item 12.2, request approval of the August 2017 bill list.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any questions?
Yeah. First one is pertaining to the Swissville property. I gave jury thing to read off.
Specifically, any sale of the real property would provide Woodland Hills with a full payoff for all delinquent taxes, including additional penalties and interest incurred until the real property is sold.
That motion was prepared by an attorney for a signing firm, right? So they said for the judge, let's have another sale, but we guarantee payment to Woodland Hills for unpaid taxes.
No.
That's when I did the research, right? And we paid this firm $15,000. So they should have known exactly what was said to the judge. When the judge ruled, he said, "You won't lose anything, so rebid it." Right? But we gave it up. I want to know why. We should have action against that law firm that didn't give us right advice.
This is his list.
You asked me before I did the research. Here's what said. Nobody else went back in because I looked, I read. He would talk about me, depositions. I never was deposed. So I went and did the research and found out exactly what happened. Right? And there he said, his law firm, Westfield Borough, said, "We guarantee your payment." So what are you going to do about that with the law firm that represented us? We paid him $15,000 to lose $80,000. Why?
We can follow up on that, Bob. Any other?
Yeah, I got more. That's my first question.
Number one.
I gave you a letter, Mr. Solicitor, about heritage. All right. And I asked you how we subsidize heritage, run a program. I didn't get that answer.
No, I thought I sent an email to you that said that under Section 3309, there are no bidding requirements for leases. So the board has its general discretion to make lease terms as they deem proper. There's no bidding requirement for that. I believed I'd answer that.
I said, no, I asked it. There's two questions I asked. First, subsidizing. You got a income at certain dollars fixed. Now you got all these costs are variable. All right, who would sign a lease over with that type of situation? Is that lease that you approved, is that a work product for your firm?
Excuse me?
Is that a work problem for your firm?
I believe my partner, Matt Hoffman, worked with the people
is that a standard report that come out of your firm? That's your type of business? You issue that type of lease agreements, you approve them?
Yeah, yes, I think the lease was between negotiations between a person from Heritage and my partner.
Are you familiar with budgets for Head Start, things like that?
I have some general understanding, yes.
So why in the lease he said now Heritage can come in here and lease and put a Head Start program in place. It's in a lease agreement you approved. Heritage can come in and say we're going to put a Head Start program in this facilities. You approved this.
Yeah, our firm approved it, yes.
You know what Head Start pays for facilities?
I don't know off the top of my head.
You should know.
If I don't know off the top of my head, no, I don't.
If you did the research on this, you should have made sure you knew. All right?
I think the lease, I'm very confident, met all legal requirements.
Now, I'm saying that today, we're going to subsidize. What does it cost, Mike? Out of pocket, when the Hills taxpayers going to have to pay to maintain this program?
I have no idea.
Nobody didn't any cost report on this?
Yes, we did, and I sent that to the board, but I'll repeat it again, sir.
There's the utility cost.
We pay for roughly $42,000 in utility costs for this building as it sets without Heritage. When it was occupied as a school with almost 500 students in it, which is about half as many will be in it now, our utility costs were approximately $45,000. They're still, with no kids in it at all, they're still over $40,000. Heritage will be paying roughly $20,000, which means they'll be covering 50% of our utility fees. And the only way we would be subsidizing them is if our utilities went up to $60,000. But as I just mentioned, when we had it full with 500 kids, we were only paying $45,000.
What about maintenance costs?
That's all utility costs.
No, we're paying.
We didn't add any maintenance to that.
I'm saying we're going to provide maintenance for this facility for Heritage. It's in the contract.
We didn't add anybody. I mean, everybody that's there is
who's going to do the work for Heritage?
If we needed to do the building, we'd maintain. I'm answering your question, sir. The same maintenance men we have would do the maintenance. It wouldn't cause no cost.
Who's doing the work for Heritage? Who's going to clean up for Heritage?
What kind of cleanup? What do you mean?
Who's going to wipe floors out? Who's going to do the maintenance?
We're going to use an existing custodian to empty garbage and do that sort of basic
if
stuff.
they're not there, we don't have to provide that service, right?
Beg your pardon?
If Heritage isn't there, we don't have to provide that service.
Yeah, but we're paying for that person anyway. That person's here full-time anyway.
What about trash?
So it's not cost.
All right, dumpsters for food.
They're going to put their own garbage in the dumpsters and pay the same amount for the dumpsters as if they weren't here.
That's not in the contract. Nowhere in the contract is anything about maintenance costs. That's why I asked his attorney, his firm, that's this type of work. I'm looking at nobody else that approves this contract.
There aren't going to be $20,000 in maintenance costs.
Pardon me?
There aren't going to be $20,000. I mean, the building would have the same maintenance needs whether they were here, whether they weren't.
When the snow falls here, we're not a school, you got kids coming down here, who's going out and salt the
Same people that do it now. Same people that do it when we're here. It's no
If you're not there, we don't have to do the work.
Yes, we do, because our employees come in there, so we'll still salt.
I'm talking about plowing and everything else.
Beg your pardon?
Plowing and everything else.
Yes. We plow it now the same as if they weren't here. That's no difference.
That's all additional cost. No. Having said that,
There aren't any additional costs. I mean, I'm just not going to accept you saying that, sir. There's no.
What's your next question, Bob?
When you have a bet, I'll put all costs on the table and see who's right or who's right wrong.
I don't gamble in a public setting.
At first, I talked to the church. I said, "What's going on with your great program?" But he said, "We can't subsidize this program for a church membership. Right? It costs us too much money." I said, "Thanks. Now we're going to subsidize the money." I didn't get all the contracts. I wanted from the Heritage, so we got the 990, right? So I'm looking at the 990. In there, they got one line item, right? $1 million invested on a balance sheet. And we're going to subsidize them, all right? We're going to subsidize them.
They're a non-profit corp.
Wait. They got $1 million in a balance sheet. They wanted the church to subsidize them, right? They got $1 million. It's in the balance sheet. They want the church to subsidize them first. Now they came to Woodland Hills. Oh, please help us out. They're going to $1 million in their balance sheet. That we're going to give their taxpayers here to help them out. All right? That's what bothers me.
The people that are using it are taxpayers. The kids' parents are taxpayers. The kids that are using Heritage, their parents are taxpayers in Woodland Hills. So they're helping themselves.
Wait a minute. Then I went and looked. I said, what their plans are, director, right? $102,000. They got grants of $3 million. Our organization I work with, they got the grants of $5 million. They pay the people $80,000, right?
I don't know what their salary.
I'm making a comparison. Why am I subsidizing here? That's my concern.
Well, I just don't believe that we are, but you're certainly entitled to your opinion, sir.
Okay, Mr. Tomasic, we've settled on the lease. We're approving the payment of this, so.
I said nobody would do this with lease. I do, but you will do it. There's no regular person who is concerned about finances ever approve this at least, and no law firm ever give you a lease prepared about that. That's a given.
Were there any other items on the bill list you want to bring up?
Then we talked about payments on taxes, right? So this here said we got to research it. Mike and we did it before, and the law firm did it before too. But now I have to pay 1 hour at a time to research the tax question you had last time.
On what, the senior citizen taxes or what?
Well, no, it's all the payments. We put the figures in April 15th, and you said you had to research it. But Mike and I did it a year ago.
No.
Bob, can you...
But you adopted the installment payments.
I know, but he said, based on his review, you got to do some research.
He had to research he wanted to, because we went a different route with the dates last year, and he wanted to verify that we can go out.
I said, but
because he didn't do the research last year.
I thought the law firm before did the research. But,
And I don't.
And I called you about Edgewood. They're getting daycare over. We have no contract. Nobody knows what's going over there. What is going over there, Mike? And Edgewood.
There's a YMCA program, Al, that he's speaking about now.
We never have. That was 20 years ago. I can't get a contract over what they're doing. Who's getting paid?
The YMCA has been using a room in the basement for an extended period of time, apparently without being charged by the district, again, primarily because all the kids being served are district residents. We've met with them, told them that we do need to come up with an agreement and a lease to govern their operation. They were amenable to that, and we're in the process of getting that done. So we're aware there was a shortcoming. We're correcting it. I don't know that we're going to ask much, if any, money, because once again, they're providing a service for our residents, and it would seem to me that will be part of our mission.
This question came up years ago, and I thought that was all settled. Now I find out they just went to do it. They're just doing it their own way. We don't tell the taxpayers nothing what's going on. We just stick around and let the people do these things.
I don't think anybody snuck, sir. I mean, it's been in place for a long time. I mean,
I was here.
It was there before I came.
Tested about before I thought it was over. Right? Yeah. Now, only last question. Britton Myers, Manners, Tex. All right. Right now, we're over $4,000 from your firm. Before Don Palmer's, I got another couple $1,000. What's going on with this? Can I get a file on this stuff?
I can tell. I'll tell you after the meeting exactly what's going on.
I can tell
you this because this is procedurally open. They have filed an appeal of their tax exempt denial with the Board of Property Assessment with the Court of Common Pleas. We have met with them, and because we don't believe they have a strong position, we've issued. We've had some pre-legal procedures done with them. I'll fill you in more because I don't want to get into strategy or anything like that.
I said, but I've been doing this stuff for years about clients and nonprofits. I filed about there down for a judge about tax bills and stuff. I want to find out from you what you're saying. I don't know anything about. their arguments they're giving you. I'm going to look at that so I can update myself with what's going on with this organization, right? That's what I want to see.
I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that afterwards. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I want to see exactly.
I'll tell you what their arguments are.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tomasic. Call for the vote, please. Motion carries with Mr. Tomasic is a nay.
Action item 12.3, request the acceptance of the July 2017 fund reports for informational purposes.
So moved.
Moved and second. Any questions? Seeing none, cast your vote, please.
Motion passes unanimously. Or no, we didn't. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. Oh, wait, you were doing investments. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got up. I wasn't paying attention to the screen. What else is new, huh? Action item 12.4, request approval of the investment reports for July of 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Cast your vote, please.
How you doing, man?
Yeah.
Motion carries.
Action item 12.5, request acceptance of the July 2017 student activity reports for informational purposes.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Call for the vote, please. Motion carries.
Action item 12.6, request permission to remove the lien on block and lot 375-P-108 for the year 2006.
So moved.
Al, do you want to give the group the quick background on this?
Yeah, this was a property in East Pittsburgh that was owned by a church, and I think, Mike, I'm sorry, I'm going to get this mixed up with the bridge, Mike. This was one that was belonged to a church and was taxed. Yeah.
And then another church bought it.
Right.
And somehow the county reverted it
To tax.
to a taxable, even though they had applied for exemption. And then they never went back and exempted the 06 year, and now it's too late for them to do anything, so they have to come to us to get approval to wipe that out.
Okay, any questions on this? Roll call, please. Motion carries.
Action item 12.7, request the approval of the Eastern Area Schools Joint Committee Resolutions 2017-1 and 2017-2 for voting by mail ballot in the 2017-2018 budget, respectively. This is the Sunrise School that we work with.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Part owner of it, I should say.
Wait. Roll call, please. Motion passes.
Action item 12.8, request approval of the PA Municipal Service Company addendum regarding changes in their office hours.
So moved.
Any questions? Roll call, please. Motion carries.
And move us to section 13 and action item 13.1, request the approval of the agreement with Project Grad to operate the College and Career Access Center at the Woodland Hills Junior Senior High School for the 2017-2018 school year, and nobody put the cost in there. Anyone know what the cost is?
$125.
At a cost of $123,000.
500.
$123,500. Thank you.
So moved.
Moved and second. Any questions?
Yeah, so, I mean, I said this before, I think this is stuff that we can do in-house and save ourselves $120,000 with our own guidance counselors and stuff like that.
I agree.
I mean, they do a great job, I mean, but I think these are things that task our own people with at some level.
You know, I don't disagree. I think that, though, it's important to recognize the talent that Ms. Fratangelo, who's now retired, and Ms. D'Amico brought to this. They had some pretty special skills they'd built up over their time doing this, and that will be difficult to replace. So I agree with you completely, but I also think it's important to recognize that they brought a really special skill set to this, and that's.
I don't want to downplay the
yeah, I think we're probably saying the same thing.
I mean,
no one's saying anything negative about the service being provided, but just that we should probably be doing more of that internally.
Because, I mean, that also gives our guidance counselors reason to know our students. You talk about communication being a problem. My daughter's never met her guidance counselor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, as has already been decided tonight, we're going to be looking at a new administration there, and I think that certainly has to be a top priority for that person.
Anything else, Jeff?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
I voted.
Mr. Kuhn?
Ready.
He voted.
I voted.
Vote twice.
I voted for you twice, Francis.
He had a window that showed up.
Okay. Yes or no?
Put it in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Julie. Let's see what comes up. Motion carries, and Mr. Tomasic voted no.
Action item 13.2, permission to accept authorization for ESL, it's English as a Second Language Services, for the 17-18 school year from the Allegheny Intermediate Unit in the amount not to exceed $161,091.50.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Yeah, they ever get their cost situation straightened out over there?
BIU?
Yeah.
Well, their issues are mostly in special education, but I believe they...
Before we're talking about cost allocation was being done incorrectly. So I want to make sure that they're doing it correctly now.
They had a very public audit finding, and all the superintendents and school districts were briefed on that, and they implemented a corrective action plan, which I can get details for you.
That's why I want to make sure it's done. Okay.
So it was...
My question.
We've met with them as one of the districts and have formulated a way to allocate the cost to the program. There is a new formula in place, you know.
Thank you.
All right, so I had a question about this. So 14,000. So it's 14 students at $161,000, which seems high. And looking at the hours here, I don't understand how one student at Edgewood is 10 hours, but 9 students at the high school are 11.25 hours, or whatever that is. Right? I'm trying to figure out how this billing is actually how it's done in this contract, because it doesn't.
There's a teacher at the high school
right.
who is there the first 3 periods of each day.
day. So that's probably where that comes up with them. In terms of Edgewood and elementaries, I'm not sure how that operates. But it's a period schedule at the high school, the first 2 or 3 periods of the day.
But then I'm assuming if we have whatever 9 students at the high school, they're all in the same classroom. So is that
It's period-wise, so there's some...
right? But it's multiple students
Yes.
for. So is that? I'm assuming that's also figuring into the cost. It's time, not students necessarily.
Yes.
We'd actually looked at whether we could internalize that, and the issue we kept coming up with is we were struggling about ESL supervision because we don't really have anybody that's certified to do that. And number 2, that's not really the main problem. The main problem was really there's some mandatory testing that goes along with that, which I don't know that we're really qualified to do, but the IU is. And those are kind of things that don't show up. If you look just at straight teacher costs, we could probably do it less expensively. But there's several other layers on top of it that would be cost prohibitive for us to do ourselves. So we've continued working with the IU. But that doesn't mean that, I think what will happen is if we continue to grow ESL enrollment, it probably will become more advantageous for us to internalize it.
So I guess that's a second question I hadn't thought of. What's our growth in that area? Is 14 up from 3, or I don't remember seeing this one.
It's been growing, but it's not been growing dramatically, and compared to other school districts where we've actually not been hit very much by that wave, there was to be a significant influx of immigrants into the Allegheny County area, and I don't know if that happened, but it certainly didn't materialize for us. I'm understanding on the south side, I believe.
Carrick, Catholic Charities took a lot in. And
I think
Baldwin
has a big
Brentwood, Baldwin has been hit pretty hard, but it hasn't impacted us very much.
Okay, yeah, I was surprised. 14 seemed like a small. I would have thought it would have been larger than that.
That's a very small number for a city of this size and a district in this location. We should.
Yeah, I can say Brentwood solicitor, for the 14. Brentwood's maybe a third or quarter the size, and I bet they have at least three times. But it's just a matter of the settlement.
For those of you watching at home, ESL is English as a second language. Whenever we use acronyms, we've got to keep everybody up to speed.
Actually, I think it's supposed to be ELL, Lisa?
English language learners.
It's supposed to be ELL, but now it's a new acronym. It's supposed to be English language learners.
First time I read it, it's the ESY.
Yeah. Then there's ESY.
Yeah.
But only if you make AYP. And you have to have the right number of ADMs in order to be able to qualify for that.
All righty. Call for the vote, please.
Jeez. Ms. Johnson. I didn't register.
If you click change, pull it up.
Okay. Motion passes.
Go to section 14, action item 14.1, approval to accept a grant from the Heinz Endowments in the amount of $50,000 for the Living Well Healthy Lifestyles program at the junior senior high school.
Second.
Any questions? A quick example of what this grant does for us, Mr. Johnson. They
run after-school exercise programs, and she does. They bought ellipticals with it.
And then they do healthy living. They do cooking classes and
They do
stuff.
cooking classes. Do Zumba. They do all kind of things.
A lot of stuff. Okay.
It's a really popular program that's done really well.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
God bless you.
Ms. Johnson.
Other disconnect?
Ms. Johnson, did you vote? Mm-hmm. Yes or no? I didn't get it, so yes.
Okay. We good?
Mm-hmm.
Motion passes.
Action item 14.2, approval to renew Pat Harper's contract as a Living Well consultant for the Heinz Healthy Lifestyle Grant. Excuse me.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. We'll give that one to Jeff Hildebrand.
Had to give that.
It's the cost.
We gave you the first tiebreaker. Any questions?
Usually you give it to me.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Belmont?
I voted yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Motion passes.
Action item 14.3, approval to accept the 2017-18 organizational chart as attached.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the organizational chart? Now you'd like to highlight?
Just one thing I always say, and I made a note of it, but I'll make a note for the board too. I'm not a professional org chart developer. In a really classic org chart, your height on the chart is proportional to your authority. That doesn't necessarily apply here, so you shouldn't infer anything by somebody's box being higher or lower than somebody else's. Just follow the lines. That's really what matters. And we did this substantially because we reduced by a number of we reduced 4 central office administrators. So it's a rather different looking chart than last year.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call, please. Anybody not on the board, Julie?
I got it.
Got it.
Motion passes.
Motion passes.
Action item 14.4, approve the agreement with Rankin Borough for school resource officer services for the 17-18 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any questions?
What's the amount?
The amount is, let me give it to you. I knew you were going to ask that. Hold on. Thank you. I couldn't get it fast. 23. It's increased from $23.60 an hour. No, I'm sorry. That's not correct, Mike. What did I say? $23.60 an hour. It's up. It's increased slightly.
It's the same, except the hourly rate is $23.70. So
Yeah.
it increased. I don't know what it increased from.
What's the total amount for a year?
Well, it'll depend on the hours.
I know, but ballpark figure.
Probably about $30,000.
Okay. People want to know. But
It'll be about $35,000.
no, people, Steve, you'll know what's.
Well, I didn't want to put a number because we don't get it. It's going to depend on the hours. It also depends on the number of officers if we need more. So we just listed the hourly.
Okay, estimate the cost $30,000. All right.
Okay, any other questions? Roll call, please.
You did.
It didn't come up.
Didn't come.
It all came back as yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Action item 14.5, approval of the agreement with Churchill Borough for SR School Resource Officer Services for 17-18 school year. The agreement's identical, except hourly rates are increased to $43.24 through 12/31 and $44.54 through June 30th. This will be equivalent to about $75,000 last year for one officer at Churchill.
No.
Was it higher than that?
No, I don't think so. We had 2 officers last year.
What was their total expense?
About 40 probably fees. About 40 probably fees. I mean,
I thought it was higher than that. Sorry.
Is this 1 or 2 officers?
This is, we're only contracting for a single officer.
Single officer. You're supposed to do.
This, just for the board, I emailed the board about this yesterday, but I want to make sure we have it out there. I didn't have this on last week's agenda because I hadn't put the agreement up. I was still looking at it. It's the same exact agreement as last year. And obviously, everything that happened at high school is certainly also happened at Churchill Borough. This is not the memorandum of understanding. This does not describe the operating practices. It just It is the agreement for services. It's agreed what we will pay them. How we will interact with them is determined by the memorandum of understanding, and that's not this. This is just the agreement that says we are going to contract for services at a particular rate and gives us rights of refusal so we can reject an officer, and we have protections in that. So I want to make sure it's understood what this is and what it isn't.
So when do we...
Sorry, to be clear, there is a list of duties attached.
Yes.
Those get fleshed out in the MOU, to my understanding?
Correct, that's correct.
Okay. And then in more detail, we dictate how the officers interact with students.
Yeah, well, that's the MOU is going to primarily be devoted to that. Like, it's going to be, these are things we've identified as being high priorities for Woodland Hills High School, and that both parties are going to undertake anything we will be done with those kind of large initiatives, objectives in mind, those missions in mind.
So when might we see that, since school starts in a week and a half?
Well, we had a couple of meetings set up, and in fairness to them, I do know, I don't know if I can talk about it, right? Can I mention what Mr. Vogel, what's going on?
No, I would defer that.
It's just that we haven't been able to, and I can talk about it.
What about this policy on camera recorders? What's going on with that? We spend a lot of money on legal fees.
Well, there again, sir, that's to be discussed with Churchill, and right now there's some issues that are preventing us from meeting with them. But that's
no, but I want to see what he prepared. We paid the firm a lot of money.
He did. It was a very good policy.
I said I want to see that. That's all.
Oh, you haven't seen the policy? I'm sorry. I'll send it to you. I apologize. I should have done that. I thought I shared that with the board. If I didn't, that's my bad.
Okay. Anything else on this?
Mr.
Kuhn.
Great.
Second mistake. That's it?
I'm done. I'll check, because I thought I did send that out. But
Just for the body cameras?
Yeah.
I don't think I saw it. Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Maybe
you didn't.
Had a lot of money for it.
We'll follow up on that. Thank you. Roll call, please. We missing Julie?
Mr. Moore.
He paid a law firm for $2,000.
What's your vote on it?
I'm sure he can get a policy somewhere.
Motion passes with a nay by Charday.
And just so public's clear too, the body cam policy is not an enacted policy, it's a draft policy. It is not, at the present moment, the policy of the school district, it's a draft. Action item 14.6, request approval of an agreement with communities and schools for site manager at the Woodland Hills Intermediate School for the 17-18 school year. The cost of the school district will be $58,000 coming from purchase service funds, and the proposal you heard from Ms. Clement tonight.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the motion?
Yeah, the amount of the contract in the board tab is different than the contract in the amount in the actual contract. So
what's the actual contract?
$63,000 service contract, $15,000 coming from PNC Charitable, and the total cost is $48,000.
That was what I had initially in the agenda last week, and I was told I was wrong. So I was actually right, wasn't I?
Well, your math was wrong in the.
I think the total cost was wrong. The total cost of the tab was wrong to start last week, but your math was good, and the 48,000 was right in the end.
All right, so it's 48,000.
But on a more important note, I think this is a great service, right?
Yeah.
I think everything we heard about is exactly what we need to service our students better and our teachers better.
Yeah, and the idea and we'll get certainly more reports on it. It's not replacing our social worker, but they're certainly going to act as an adjunct to our social worker. Their main goal at the intermediate school is going to be getting out into the public and making those connections with families, as we heard described tonight, where their communication is problematic. My hope would be, if it works as well as we think it can work, that it could become something we will incorporate at all of our schools. I mean, this is being done as a pilot at the intermediate, and hope that maybe this could grow into a district-wide initiative.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call, please. Motion passes with the nay by Mr. Tomasic.
Thank you very much for that. That'll be a great service for our kids. Action item 14.7. Yeah, we're still going to do this, right? Approval to appoint Tim Bostard as the interim football coach, head football coach for the 2017-2018 school year.
So moved.
Moved and second. Any comments? Jamie?
Tim and I went to high school together. He was my year, 1997. And he's an outstanding individual, a good man, and will be a great leader for these young men. So I look forward to the good things he's going to do with the team.
I concur heartily. I went down and met with Mr. Bostard and the coaching staff and on a very difficult day, and Tim was there and ready to take over, and I think we're going to be very happy with what he does as the head coach.
I had the opportunity to get to know Tim and also work with him, and I think the board did an excellent job in choosing him as the head coach. Kids respect him. If you would have been there when he was announced as interim coach, you could see the enthusiasm of the young men. Tim also can be stern and knows what he wants to do. And he knows what's expected of him. And I hope that we explain to him that that this is 1 year and that this is going to come up again.
Yeah,
okay.
He knows that.
Okay.
He knows it. And I
Good luck to him and the team.
Yeah, and if you don't, in fact, if you don't mind, I also want the board to know too that as impressed as we were with the coaches, who we were most impressed with was the players. You got 70-some young men there that
75 when I was there.
75 have been through an emotional roller coaster that we're as adults, it doesn't directly impact our day-to-day lives. We go on. These young men, this is everything that they do every day. This is what they're about. And what they've gone through over the past few weeks, the fact that they're still showing up in full strength and practicing hard and playing hard is just a testament to the people in this community, and we couldn't be more proud of them. I'm most proud of the young men on that team right now.
So congratulations to Timmy and to his coaching staff.
And
I've been up 3 or 4 times, and coaching staff is excellent.
Yeah.
The one-on-one with the young men is fantastic, and it's appreciated.
I think they're most excited about now they're back at the Wolverine.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's big. And good point, Jeff. They're back at the Wolverine with the new carpet. One memory I have of Tim that's vivid in the 2003 state championship game against Parkland in Hershey. It was a frigid December night, clear, not much wind, but cold. And he was warming up with the team in the end zone in a sports shirt. And everybody else was in the stands bundled up.
Without pants.
And he had on shorts, thank you. Yeah, so how you do that, I don't know.
I think Timmy's ever done anything other than shorts. I don't know that I've seen him
He
in.
wears pants.
Oh, does he? Okay.
He does. Okay. Yes, he's the assistant athletic director. Cast your vote, please. Okay. We had gone out of order. We're going to go back up to is that 2.3 or 2.2, and I, as acting president, as my last act, will make a motion. You can make the motion. For
Open up for
on 2.3, yeah.
Okay. I'm nominating Fred Jones. The heck out of here. 3 months. What are you smoking? 3 months, man.
Okay.
Your career's
The
in.
floor is open. I'm stepping aside as acting president. Is there a motion?
I said, you got 3 months, man. That's your end your career with president. I got 3 months to live. That's what I'm saying, man.
Open the floor for nominations, please.
like to point Jamie
But I did, I
Glaster.
said.
I'll second that. I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any comments? Go around the table and
Any more nominations? Move that nominations be closed. It can be by a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Jamie is the only candidate, so I guess to make it official, do the roll call.
Ms. Glasser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
I'd like to say congratulations, Jamie. Thank you for taking this leap in this volunteerism. I know you'll do well. You're highly respected by me, so thank you for taking this. And yes.
yeah, we're going right around the table.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Mr. Hanchett?
Said yes.
All right, Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhn?
Yes.
Dr. Hildebrand?
Yes.
Mr. Tomasik?
Yes.
Mrs. Helgen?
Yes.
Mr. Belmont?
Yes.
You dropped something, man. You dropped something.
Okay, that'll move us to action item 2.4, which is the appointment of a vice president.
Oh, Mike Belmont. He's right there.
Second.
Okay, we're opening the floor for nominations, and
I changed right there.
Red
For
Club.
2 weeks.
Jeff Hanchett.
Why you have
Jeff
to open up?
Hildebrand.
Why did you have to open up? He's sitting there.
well, that's true. If you don't need to take a vote on it, because really, unless you decide otherwise, Mr. Belmont is still vice
Yeah,
president.
but no vacancy.
You can always change the vice president anytime, but that's the wisdom of the board. And that's good.
He's done an excellent job.
Get through it.
He really has.
Thank you,
Let's ask him, does he want it?
In a tough situation. He's
Hearing the
not
will
real
of the
smart,
board.
though.
Why open up?
He's not real smart.
Hearing the will of the board, Mr. Belmont will remain vice president.
Thank you.
And that concludes board on, so now we move to old business.
Yeah, I got, when's the last day we put the ballot, bond issue on the ballot?
Excuse me?
When's the last day we put a bond issue on the ballot? I want to put a motion, I did it last time. Give the voters a chance to vote on a bond issue.
I don't know about that right now. I just don't. For candidates, it may be a couple weeks, but I don't know the procedure right now for. It has been approved by the board already.
Right, so I'm going to put it on I'm going to put a motion up to put on the ballot.
Is that something you can research, Mr. Vogel?
I can do that, yes.
Okay. We'll get some research on that and see if that's something that we can do. With the board having approved the bond issue already, we'll look into whether there's still an opportunity to.
Fred and I, we put the motion up, we got voted down, right? We lost a lot of money because people did the bond issue, didn't know what they're doing. When somebody asked for $72,000 legal fees with the IRS, people didn't know their job. That's a disgrace. Pay this kind of money because people didn't know anything about compliance issues. You hire people do the job, they don't know their job. It costs us
Actually, sir, $72,000 was spent to determine that we didn't do anything wrong.
Sir, wait a minute. Sir, we
was
did
found-
not,
it was found out it was committed in error.
please. We did not comply, right? IRS says we will not fine you, assess any penalties if you now notify us that you are not in compliance. IRS said we won't fine you, assess it, right? But you are not in compliance.
It's not what the IRS says.
No, they know you were not in compliance.
The IRS closed the audit.
Sir, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the bills for when we get the hope from
Again, we'll just have to disagree.
In any case, the IRS issue is resolved at this point. We'll look into the question about the bond.
I want to ask Mike, when do I get the file from? Sir, John, can you help us out so we get the files from New York? He's asking these questions. I want to see exactly what they said to the IRS. All right.
The IRS.
Oh, that'll be good luck.
Yeah,
But
he had me
you
request.
tell me the name, and I'll send the letter.
Yeah, because I don't know what they told the IRS. What did I pay him $12,000 for? What conversation, what they research, what did they send the IRS?
Okay, we're going to request that information.
He might have billed us for going Hamilton out there. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to watch Hamilton bill. You get send the bill with Woodland Hills.
Anything else under old business?
Wait a minute.
Mr. Belmont.
Thank you. Tonight we accepted the resignation of Mr. Murray. I'd also like to recognize that in the large balance of his career here at Woodland Hills, he did a lot of good things, and I don't think he should be forgotten for that. I think the decent thing to do is to thank him for a lot of good years that he put in here. And I just want to go on public record as having stated that.
Okay. Anything else under old business? Seeing none, we'll move to new business. Any new business? Seeing none. Reports. Reminder that reports from committee meetings are due to be submitted. If you have not yet done that, please do.
Yeah.
Committee meetings will be held again in September.
Listen, we got payroll hours I'm supposed to get from Mike. How many hours?
They're working on that.
I want to make a comparison with ABT can do for us versus what you're going to do. I do a comparison. And how about finance with Susquehanna and ProSoft? I'm going to get a comparison.
I'm not considering.
I know you're not, but I know you do. You don't want to say it, but I want to say it.
There's no reason to.
Why isn't there?
Well, it'll cost us more money.
I just want to look at it.
Program that we're already using.
I said I want to see. I want to do a comparison. I'm not saying buying it yet. I want to see about it. All right. Every year I bring this up.
Buy it. We've already purchased this program. We're utilizing it. Our records are all for the last 15 years on this system.
Right.
You're going to lose that capability by changing, and then you're going to end up having to spend money to buy the CSDIU program, which is basically the same finance package you produce.
I don't know that. You're telling me that, but I don't know that. I see all the mistakes you make back here.
With other business managers that utilize
I understand it too.
So,
I see all the mistakes.
But I don't see any reason to do it. I honestly don't.
Why did you stop me? Why did you stop me?
I'm sorry, I'm done.
Why did you stop me seeing what they can do first? You stopped it.
I didn't stop them. I never brought them in.
I asked for it. I asked for it. You stopped it. I asked to see it. You said no.
I didn't say no.
Why didn't it come in?
When you discussed CSIU, they brought in the student side.
No, they told me you stopped it. No, they told me you stopped it.
I see no need to replace
I know that. They said
system that
you're
works.
not a board member. You shouldn't have stopped it.
Ms. Glasser.
You shouldn't have stopped it.
There's no vote by the board.
I was at the committee meeting, and we were going to compare numbers, so I think we ought to follow through on that. But at that point in time,
I'm waiting for the hours to give me.
Mike's going to get that comparison for us, Bob.
On the
actual production.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else under reports at this point? Okay.
Oh, good. I got a question. On the tax taxpayer called me, but you would send out reminders on October 31st to the people who didn't pay taxes.
What's that?
You're going to send out, asking the tax collectors to send out reminders to people who have yet to pay.
Tax collectors that they have to send reminders out. Yes.
Yeah, that's the law.
Yeah, it's in their manual. That's part of their duties.
I say, is there a penalty for when if you don't do it? You got a cost figure.
I don't think there's any penalty in them.
You got a cost figure. What it's going to cost you to do that? What's going to cost us for all the taxpayers to send out the notice?
Whatever.
We
pay the postage. We pay the supplies.
Tell me what the taxpayers are going to have to pay to send out those notices. You don't have a universe that you know compared to the county, the school district, and a borough. Who owns the property? Where the addresses are? You know how many addresses that send out every year not correct? Take a bet that's on it, man.
Well, if they're not correct, if the addresses are not correct, that's on the tax collector because he's supposed to keep the addresses current for all the tax collectors. The tax collectors have a responsibility to update the addresses. And they're to report to the county.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mr. Tomasic's right, the county does. However, I think that if the tax collector is aware that the address is bad, it's incumbent upon him to change it.
They don't have no address. How can I change it?
Well, I thought you said they had the wrong address.
I said, yeah, they have an address. You said it not, nobody lives there. What are you supposed to do?
That's a different question.
That is, yeah.
It's the same thing. I said, he's saying that send out notice that people didn't pay taxes. You don't have an address that's correct to send out notice to.
Well, the thing is this.
Why don't you bring all the taxpayers and tax collectors in and talk to them?
Mr. Vogel, is there a requirement in the code that we have to send reminders?
No.
Okay.
In the tax manual.
Oh,
Where's the tax?
In the tax manual.
Is it by the contract that they're working under? Because normally you are presumed to know that you're getting a tax bill.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way the law is. You know, a lot of people try that where they say, "Oh, I didn't get a tax bill this year, so I don't have to pay." No, it's presumed that you do. It's also courts look to see that if the tax records are, if they're up to date. And obviously, if you're sending a tax bill out and you know that it's the wrong address, you have to do it. But again, if you're relying on what the county records say, unless they're modified by someone telling you.
I got to give you a list of people who don't pay no taxes every year. Mike went to tax collector, send out a letter to them, right? They don't pay. You can send them 15 letters, they're not going to pay. Nobody knows where they live and everything else. The taxpayer is going to pay that cost to send these letters out, right? That's one of my. Why would you do that?
Well, we do have a lot of taxpayers that they don't receive the first bill because they paid off their mortgages and the tax address. It goes to the mortgage company, not to them. The mortgage company will not forward the tax bill to them, so they end up paying a penalty and interest. Okay, and we get a lot of complaints from those kind of people. We're trying to help the taxpayers avoid those by sending out these second notices so that we can see if we can catch those people, because then by the time, September or October rolls around, you're hoping that the mortgage company and the county have changed the addresses in the system so that, they go out, because the tax collectors, I've worked with tax collectors that know every person that comes in the door. Mm-hmm. And just by reviewing their docket, they'll give them a phone call and say, "Hey, you didn't pay your taxes this year."
They do that.
So
you know what I mean?
Been our practice?
No, they haven't done it. They haven't done it. And that's the problem.
But it is in the manual.
It's a taxation manual. It does state that they should be sending out reminders.
Okay.
So what are we actually debating? Not sending letters that we're not. It's
trying to be nice. A nice reminder to your tax collectors, or just saying, "Forget about it. We'll catch you on a penalty and
you're
interest."
always yelling, we don't take action. But he's looking out for the taxpayer, and you're yelling at him.
No.
So now he's fighting the other argument.
Okay.
People don't have no address or whatever.
Okay.
There are some that.
So the reminders will go per manual requirement.
That's not binding on it. The law is, not the manual.
Sure, I understand.
So he
What? Can we go home?
Before we do that, we have to go to public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board at this time? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'll get that language.
2,000 people, no addresses.
I have no idea what they are, but they're sitting here on the table.